Every year I read books hoping for few things. Not just entertainment, not just information, but also change. Most books are fine, some are interesting, but only a few genuinely shift how you think, act, and make decisions. In 2025, I read several books that didn't just add ideas to my head. They quietly changed how I structure my days, how I define success, how I work with other people, and how I spend my energy. Today, I want to share 4 books that truly made that difference. Those are not trend-based recommendations. They are framework books, the kind that stay with you long after you close the last page. Let's start with the one that reshapes how I think about progress itself. Atomic Habits by James Clear is a book many people have heard of, but far fewer have actually applied deeply. The core idea is deceptively simple. An atomic habit is a little habit that is part of the larger system, just as atoms are building blocks of molecules. Atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. What changed my life wasn't motivation, it was systems. James Clear explains that small changes, repeated consistently, compound over time, much like interest in bank account. You don't notice the progress at first, but eventually the results become undeniable. The most practical part of the book is the 4-step habit framework. First step, make it obvious. Your environment should remind you what to do. If you want to drink more water, your bottle should be visible, not hidden in the cupboard. 2. Make it attractive. We repeat what feels good. If the habit is unpleasant, it won't last. Pair it with something enjoyable. 3. Make it easy. Lower the barrier to entry. The habit should be easier to do than to avoid. 4. Make it satisfying. Immediate rewards matter. Tracking progress, checking off a box, or seeing visible improvement reinforces behavior. What struck me most is that habits are not about willpower, they are about design. This book fundamentally changed how I approach self-improvement. Instead of asking, how do I force myself to do this? Now I ask, how do I make this inevitable? That shift alone is life-changing. This book completely reframed my definition of success. In 5 Types of Wealth, Sahil Bloom argues that financial wealth is just one form of wealth, and often not the most important one. He defines 5 categories. First is time wealth, the ability to control your schedule, freedom over how your day is structured. Second, social wealth, strong relationships, community, trust, and people who show up for you. Third is mental wealth, peace of mind, clarity, emotional regulation, and healthy relationship with stress. Fourth is physical health. Health, energy, and physical capability. Fifth is financial wealth. Money and financial security. The powerful insight here is that people often maximize one form of wealth at the expense of the others, especially money. The book forces you to ask, where am I overinvested? Where am I underinvested? What kind of wealth am I actually optimizing for? I found it deeply grounding. It showed me that successful life is not just about earning more, but about balancing what actually matters. You can be financially rich and time poor. You can be productive and mentally exhausted. You can be successful and deeply lonely. This book made me rethink trade-offs I was making unconsciously and start making them intentionally. If Atomic Habits teach you how to build momentum, the 80-20 principle teaches you where to focus it. The core idea is simple but uncomfortable. 80% of results come from 20% of effort. 80% of problems come from 80% of causes, which means most of what we do produces very little value. Richard Koch shows that the majority of time, resources, and energy in both life and business are misallocated. The book teaches you how to identify your highest leverage activities, eliminate or reduce low-value effort, think strategically instead of reactively. In business, Koch highlights 10 major applications, 3 of them being strategy, focusing on what truly drives results, quality and cost reduction, improving the vital few instead of the trivial many, service improvement, identifying which customers or actions matter most. But this isn't just a business book. Personally, it taught me how to stop asking, how can I do more? And start asking, what actually matters? This book helped me to cut unnecessary commitments, stop overworking low-impact tasks, and redirect energy towards what truly moves the needle. It's uncomfortable, but incredibly freeing. Fourth book is Surrounded by Bad Bosses and Lazy Employees by Thomas Erikson. This book changed how I interpret human behavior, especially at work. Thomas Erikson uses the DISC personality model to explain why people communicate, work, and react so differently. The DISC framework divides people along 2 dimensions: task-oriented versus relationship-oriented, introverted versus extroverted. From this, 4 personality types emerge, each with different needs, communication styles, and stress triggers. What this book taught me is that many workplace conflicts are not about competence or intent, but about mismatch. People aren't difficult because they are bad. They are difficult because they are different. This book helped me stop taking behavior personally, adapt my communication style, understand power dynamics in hierarchies, navigate difficult bosses and colleagues with less friction. It's especially useful if you work in teams, manage people, or feel misunderstood at work. Once you recognize patterns, conflict becomes predictable and solvable. What these books have in common. Although those books cover very different topics, they share something important. They are not motivation books, they are framework books. Each one gives you a way to think more clearly, allocate effort more wisely, design your life more intentionally. They don't rely on hype or urgency, they rely on structure, and structure is what creates lasting change. How I apply these ideas daily. Together, those books change how I approach life. I build habits instead of chasing motivation. I measure success beyond money. I focus on high leverage effort. I adapt communication instead of escalating conflict. None of this happened overnight, but small changes applied consistently compound. That is the real lesson. Books don't change your life automatically, but the right books change how you think, and thinking differently changes everything. If you're looking for books that don't just inspire, but restructure your decision making, those four are powerful places to start. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more thoughtful content on personal growth, productivity, and intentional living. If you ever read any of those books, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching.